Hello, hi, welcome back everybody to yet another iteration, yet another episode of the Daily Cooking Stream, of the Daily Cooking Show. I hope you're all having a beautiful Friday. I see that we have a lot of lovely little sous chefs in chat. And Liam, thank you so much already opening off with the gifted sub. Hello to Liam, hello to Trash Can Cat Mom, hello to Lego Batman Fan, hello to Jack, hello to Holkin, hello to Evil, hello to Gabby, hello to Elfiz. I saw that we had Jack in chat briefly. Jack, I hope you feel better soon. Hi, good morning. It's good to see all of you again. I'm fiddling with my hair again. It has to stop. I'm going to relax. I'm going to chill out on that. I'm pretty excited about today's stream. Today is going to be not like too long of a stream. We'll be doing some more stir fries because I really want to do stir fries at home. I want to get really good at them. Also, hello to Mackie Smiley. I'm not sure if I said that correctly. Well, welcome on in. Hello, hello, hello. It's good to see all of you again. I am excited to teach all of you today a little bit about some stir fry fundamentals, some of the things that you're looking for, and some of the ways that you can make stir fries really special at home. I feel like stir fries, also a Liam. Thank you so much for another gifted sub. Thank you, thank you. I feel like stir fries are one of the things that people get quite wrong in a home setting pretty often. It's something that a lot of like home cooks have like a very specific idea of. A lot of the way that American home cooks sort of grew up on the idea of a stir fry is, hey, you know, in like a big non-stick pan, you're going to throw in sliced up chicken, you're going to throw in sliced in broccoli, and then also add in some soy sauce. And in reality, stir fries are actually a little bit more complicated than that. We're going to give it a lot of love today. We're going to go through it step by step. I'm going to teach you how you should be thinking about a stir fry and how to stop getting just essentially a boiled mess of ingredients. We're going to be putting the fry in stir fry. Everything is going to be properly fried. We're going to get some good color. We're going to make sure that none of the ingredients are overcooked. And I'm going to show you how to do that step by step. In addition to the stir fry itself, we'll also be doing a Chinese smashed cucumber salad and then also some fluffy warm rice. So, Liam, whoa, all these gifted subs. Thank you, thank you. You're so sweet today. So, everybody, are you ready today? Are you ready for the rundown of all the ingredients? Because I don't know if you can tell, I have this huge assortment of ingredients behind me. It's quite a lot. So we're going to go through everything one by one. I'm only seeing a Liam say yes, chef right now. I want everybody to be saying yes, chef. I want to see that you're present. I want to see that you're alert, that you're ready to listen. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for today. Good. Okay, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. I'm going to have a little sip of water while I'm waiting for them to pour on in. Perfect. Excellent. That's what I want to see. Also, hello to Lexi and also hello to GHX. I'm not really sure how to say your tag. Please let me know if I'm, doing it. Yes, chat is on delay. Also, hello to John. It's lovely to have you. So, my friends, today we will be doing a lovely beef stir fry. We're going to be doing a really, really beautiful, lovely beef stir fry. Also, hello to Tropicilla. Welcome on in. And so, everybody, with a beef stir fry, you got to have a little bit of beef. And I have approximately 2 pounds of flank steak. I do not need 2 pounds of flank steak. We're only going to need about a half a pound today. Half a pound is going to make like 2 portions or so. And the reason why we're only doing half a pound at a time is because this is the #1 rule of stir fries. You cannot overcrowd your pan. You cannot overcrowd your wok. You can do things in batches, but ultimately a stir fry has to scale to the size of the pan that you're using. Okay, and so that's why I'm only going to be able to do half a pound of flank steak at a time here. I'm also really, really enjoying this thing. This is flank steak, my friends. This is one of my favorite cuts of beef. I use it all the time on the streams. And what I really, really love about flank steak is it has such a defined grain. You can see all of the muscle fibers are going in one direction. That lends itself to shredding really nicely. You cut it against the grain, you can get it super tender. And we're going to be doing a little technique called velveting. I'm going to show you how to get this tender enough for a flank steak. Oh yeah, for a stir fry, excuse me. I do not play Brawlhalla on stream at all. Yeah, I only do cooking streams. So look at that, get a load of this guy. I'm just having too much fun kind of flapping this around. So big old flank steak, I'm gonna go ahead and set this back down. And as always, it was on a sheet tray so that it would air dry in the fridge so that it's not sopping wet. We'll get more on that in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and set that behind me. And I'm gonna take my gloves off. Oh yeah, it's pronounced Gidra. Oh no reason to apologize, I'm happy to provide. Okay, welcome on in, Gidra, it's lovely to have you. Okay, so, let's talk about everything that's going to go into it today. We're going to be doing a little something called velveting. And velveting is how we get this meat to be nice and tender. For chemical reactions that are a little bit past me, okay, Having something basic, having something alkaline has a very wonderful tendency to make meat extremely tender. Some people would use baking soda. We're going to be doing a bit of a traditional process of velveting. So we're going to be using the egg whites of an egg. And the egg whites are what's going to make this meat super nice and tender. A little bit of alkaline goes a long way. That's how you get the texture of that's how you get like that slippery, really, really tender mouthfeel. Okay, velveting is how you recreate that like take home, like that takeout like Chinese food texture. But if you ever think about like, oh, how is this meat so tender? How does that have it like that slippery quality to it? It's because it was probably velveted. It was treated with something nice and basic. It was passed through water and then we'll cook it up. So I'm going to show you how and why we do that. But if you were ever wondering why your stir fries did not taste like Chinese takeout, it's because you're not velveting your schmeat. Okay, and let's talk about some of the flavor components today. We have some dark soy sauce, we have some oyster sauce, and we have some Shaoxing wine, some cooking wine here. Okay, so this is going to go into the velveting itself. And then to actually give the whole thing a lot of oomph, a lot of funk, we have a little bit of dark soy sauce here, and then we also have some oyster sauce. So kind of the flavor profile of a beef and broccoli, right? These are a lot of the different sauces and flavors that you would see in a beef and broccoli. Really good stuff, really delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and set this behind me. And let's see what else we got. Okay, and then, of course, you can't forget about the tomatoes. I have 2 plum tomatoes that I wanted to get rid of. And so plum tomatoes are really nice because they're really nice and fleshy. And they don't have like a lot of water, so they will lend itself to like a stir fry really, really nicely. We're going to be doing this like typically how you see in like some traditional like beef tomato stir fries, maybe like tomato egg. We're going to slice this up. It's going to be really tasty. Also, Dennis asks, what is the difference between dark and light soy sauce? So dark soy sauce is fermented a little bit more. It's a little bit more concentrated and it's darker in color, right? So it's a little bit more salty, it's a little bit more fermented than light soy sauces. So 2 plum tomatoes, and then we gotta talk about the smashed cucumber salad that we'll be doing. I have 4 beautiful cucumbers. Liam, thank you so much for the gifted sub to Dennis. I have 4 beautiful cucumbers. We're gonna smash it, we're gonna marinate it. I have some Chinese black vinegar for it. Some of this stuff right here, although you could theoretically use any kind of vinegar, any kind of acidity that you want, Chinese black vinegar is pretty traditional here, and we're gonna flavor it with some garlic. It's gonna be really simple, it's gonna be really delicious. And then finally, one component that I have neglected to take out of the fridge, okay, is going to be, where is it? Where's my beautiful scallions? I've already lost them. Aha! Scallions. Guys, you can't make Chinese food without scallions. These are going to be in everything, okay? They're going to be in multiple stages of the beef stir fry. They're going to go into the salad as well. I love scallions to death. You can't have too many scallions in a kitchen. And as always, I wash them. I put them in a Tupperware with a little paper towel to help control the humidity. Also, Dosky, welcome on in. It's lovely to have you. A paper towel in there to control the humidity, to stop it from going too wet or too dry. And this way they'll be able to keep in your fridge for quite some time. Also, it's lovely to have you. So, everybody, really quickly before we begin as well, for anybody that has not already done so, please, if you can, check out the Patreon, type an exclamation mark Patreon in chat. You can scroll down, you can go into the About section, because I am here to teach you how to cook, and I would like to be able to do so for free. And for that, I will need a little bit of help with the groceries, a little bit of help with the cost to actually run these streams. So anybody, if you can, if you have a little bit of extra pocket change, it would go quite a bit of a long way. I'm trying to get the grocery costs covered. I have a lot of other costs. I have some camera upgrades I want to do. And as always, if you have any questions during the cooking stream at all, I am here to help you learn how to cook. So it can be anything about food. It does not just have to be about the dishes that we're making today. It can be about anything at all. So with that being said, is everybody ready to begin? I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef. I see we have a couple people that are new. I want to hear a yes, chef from you as well. Okay? I want to see some confidence. And then we'll begin in just a moment once I got enough of that pouring on in. Perfect. Good. That's what I want to see. Also, Liam, thank you so much for all these gifted subs. Also, lovely to see you, Talina Chess. Welcome on in. Okay. So, that's a couple of yes chefs. I think that'll do for now. Next time I want to see you guys on it a little bit faster. And so we're going to begin today with the smashed cucumber salad. So let's go ahead and begin with that right now. I'm going to go on here to my overhead camera. And I have some lovely cucumbers. I don't think I'm going to use all 4. I think I'm just going to make 3 cucumbers worth of smashed cucumber salad. And so, let's talk about the salad really quickly. We're going to be doing something. These are just washed up cucumbers. You can use any kind of cucumber you have available to you. These are just some Kirby's. You can use Persian cucumbers. You can use English cucumbers. I happen to really like these. So, these were washed up, and the only thing we're really going to do with them is we're going to slightly peel them. The reason for this is because the skin can be a little bit tough, it can be a little bit too chewy, but we're not going to peel them all the way. All we're going to do is essentially give them some stripes, right? And so I always have my waste bowl ready to go when I'm cooking, and so all I'm going to do, I'm going to leave some of the skin on, some of it for a little bit of texture, a little bit of flavor, but I don't want all of the skin, so otherwise it'll make the salad a little bit too tough. Okay, so we get to really, really control it, right? So it's a bit of a trade-off. We're losing a little bit of flavor, and we're being a little bit wasteful when we peel up some of these cucumbers, but we're not peeling off all of it, so we're able to still retain some of that flavor, but I just want to have a nice, tender cucumber salad, okay? So let's go ahead and repeat that with all of these. I have a nice sharp V-neck peeler. Guys, if your peeler is dull and you're struggling to peel a cucumber, get a new peeler. You don't need an expensive one. Just get one that you will replace every so often. So you see, just a couple of basic peels. We're basically giving it some stripes. Something like that. And again, you don't have to peel this. You can also peel this completely if you would like to. I'm doing this purely to control the texture of today's salad. And so, we're going to, of course, cut off the tips and the bottoms of each of these cucumbers because they're a little dried off. Always going into my waste bowl. Okay. Last one. Excellent. Okay. So, everybody, I have a question for you. I have a little quiz for somebody in chat. What do we always do with cucumber salads? Anytime that you see me make a salad or I use or I cook with cucumber, what do we always do? What do we always do? Some of you may know the answer to this. I want to see if somebody gets it. Eat it, salt them. There you go. Trash can cat mom got it first. We salt them. And the reason we salt them is because we want to get rid of a lot of the excess moisture. Cucumbers are mostly saturated with water. These are basically pure water. By getting rid of some of the water, by salting it and then draining it off in advance, we stop the dressing for the salad from being diluted. If we were just to salt this and add some vinegar and sesame oil, by the time that all the water leaches out from the cucumbers, your salad is going to be so soggy, it's going to be so unpleasant, and it's going to be so bland. And so, after we smash this, we're going to salt this really nice and heavily, okay? So let's go ahead and begin. Also, just type an exclamation mark menu, Kitsune. That's all you gotta do. Type an exclamation mark menu and then you'll stay up to date with the times. So, while we do that, let's go ahead and just make sure, really quickly, that we have a bowl to be able to put all the nicely smashed up cucumbers in, where they'll be able to sit with the salt, okay? And now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take these cucumbers and we're going to slice them in half lengthwise. And this is so that we can have a nice flat surface and we can begin the smashing process. So, half lengthwise. Half lengthwise. Excellent. Okie dokie. Look at that. And now, you can use a cleaver for this. Traditionally, a cleaver is pretty nice for this because it's like a nice flat surface. I'm just going to use my bench scraper for this. Well, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this a little bit of a smash every single way or so. I'm not really getting as much of a smash as I would have liked to. A cleaver is very nice. Something that's preferably at least a little bit heavy. There you go. That's okay. And again, the crushing, the smashing is purely for like textural reasons. It's just if it just makes it a little bit flatter, it makes it a little bit squishier. You get some of like the slightly flat and softer bits, and you still get some of the crunchy bits out of it. So take it. And we smash it. There you go. Something like that. Perfect. Yeah, that should be okay. Again, we're not looking for like a crazy smash or anything. It's just a little bit. And next one. Put all of your body weight down there. Sometimes it'll squirt out seeds all over the place. You just gotta learn to be okay with it. There you go. Nice and firm. And now next one. There you go. That's one side. That's the second side. That's a little bit more of what I'm looking for. I figured out my method. Like a chiropractor. This is essentially what chiropractors do. Guys, you're the chiropractor, and this is your 70-year-old patient that, you know, needs a little bit of help. And you just do that. My analogy wasn't very clever or creative. I realized like halfway talking into it that it wasn't that interesting. But that's okay. So, Last one. Give that a nice little smash. And give this side a little smash. Perfect. Okay, I feel like I can do a slightly more aggressive smash with some of these. Some of them flattened up nicely, some of them didn't, and that's okay. So, everybody, once again, the smashing is purely for textural reasons. What this allows us to do is it just creates a very interesting texture. You get some of the softer smashed cucumber pieces, and then you get some of the firmer pieces where it didn't fully smash, okay? This step is not essential. You can just do a sliced cucumber salad. The reality is the texture of it is just different at the end of the day. It's just a matter of texture. It's just a matter of what you want to do with this thing. This is just one nice technique to really change up the texture of a cucumber salad. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to slice it up. We can slice it up on an angle like so. We don't want pieces that are too thick. We don't want pieces that are too thin. Okay, something like that, right? And then we're going to go ahead and just scoop that up into the bowl in just a second. Nice little angle. Again, it makes the whole thing pretty. The way that you cut it, it's entirely up to you. The only thing is I would recommend not having too thin pieces because otherwise it gets like a little bit mushy, especially as it sits in the fridge. Doing a smashed cucumber salad, this is one of the things that I'd love just to have in the fridge. Also, Tarina, am I talking that fast? I did not know. I love cucumbers. Okay, just going through this. Oh, is that Amazon? Oh no. Why is there a delivery every single time I start streaming? Every single time. Okay, that's funny. That's fine. I'm not upset about it. It's okay. So, cucumbers. We're just going through all of these. We're going to just, again, continue to cut them on a bias. And, as always, we have a handy-dandy little bench scraper. And we're going to use this just to clean up our station every so often. And into the bowl. Okay, it's all gonna go. Okay, last couple of cucumbers. But yes, okay. Also, I did not have any coffee. I just have my regular dose of Vyvanse. I guess my Vyvanse is just hitting today. It does make it vibrant, doesn't it, Dennis? Yeah, that's a really nice part about doing like this half peel is like it makes each cucumber like very visually striking, right? That's how you get like that sort of restaurant cucumber salad effect. Okay, let's scoop it up, just making sure we're keeping the cutting board nice and clean. And you can already see, by the way, how wet my cutting board is, purely from just smashing and chomping these cucumbers. Now imagine how much more liquid they're going to release, okay, over the course of actually sitting with salt. We don't want any of that excess cucumber liquid in the salad. That excess cucumber liquid in the salad is going to dilute all the flavors. It's going to make the whole thing bland, and it's going to make the whole thing soggy. And that's not what I'm looking for, quite frankly. So, this is my lovely little bowl of cucumbers. I'm going to just wipe off my paws really quickly. I have a paper towel behind me. And then we're going to hit it with a really, really generous amount of kosher salt. Okay? And so, you're going to want to use a little bit more salt than you actually think that you need, because a lot of it is actually going to get dissolved in the liquid that we're then going to strain out. So some of it is going to penetrate it. If you were to taste a cucumber with this amount of salt now, you're going to be like, oh, Daramgar, this is way too salty. You can't possibly eat something like this. I promise you, a lot of the salt is going to end up dissipating. It's going to end up dissolving in the water. And then you can just give this a little mix around. You can use your hands. I'm not going to get my hands in there. It'll be just fine the way it is. Just mix it around, toss it up, smash it up, and again, you can already see how wet it's becoming. Now, we want to let this sit for like 30 minutes or so, at the very least. 30 minutes, we'll strain it out, and then we'll combine it with the dressing that we're about to make. Okay? Perfect. There we go. And again, if you were to take a taste of this now, whoa, way too salty. Again, some of the salt is going to penetrate it, but a lot of the salt is going to end up getting dissolved in the liquid. So use more salt. This has to taste slightly too salty, and then you'll be able to compensate for it. Can I please get a yes, chef? Please and thank you, right now. Okay, this is just going to go ahead and sit by itself for a little bit. We have no more use for that at the moment. We just want to let it sit. We want the salt to do its job, to do its little magic, and then we'll strain it off and we'll have a delicious, flavorful salad. Okay, my cutting board is a little bit wet, so I'm just going to slide this over the edge, and I have my waste bowl. just to be able to clean things up without needing a paper towel, which is a really nice way. You can use this to basically squeegee it, right? So into the waste bowl that all goes. And then we can use a paper towel at the end here, but we got off most of the liquid just by doing this. Again, we don't want a wet cutting board. It's just going to make things unpleasant. It's going to make everything else that we do on it soggy. You just want to make sure that your workstation is nice and clean whenever you're doing things, okay? As always, we have a wet paper towel under it just to secure the cutting board and make sure that it doesn't jiggle around too much. Okay, excellent. So all we did just now is we smashed up the cucumbers for the cucumber salad. We can now start assembling and thinking about the dressing that we're doing for today. So this dressing is going to be really simple. It's going to be some sesame oil. It's going to be some of the Chinese black vinegar. It's going to be some garlic, and it's going to be some chopped up scallions. So let's make it right now. And again, we don't really need any more salt at this stage because the salt is going to fully season the cucumbers. We're not going to need any soy sauce. We're keeping the salad today really, really simple. If you would like, what's a very nice addition into a salad like this is some cilantro, sometimes some lime juice. You can also do like a chili paste if you have any in there. I'm keeping mine today really traditional, really simple, just vinegar and garlic and scallions and cucumbers. Okay, I'm keeping it simple. So in here, and I'm not going to be measuring any of this stuff today, I have some Chinese black vinegar. Okay, and again, you can use any kind of acidity that you would like for these. I just really happen to like Chinese black vinegar. I find it really, really tasty. I'm just going to grab a spoon just to be able to spoon this out and get a relative measurement of it. Right? That's like 1 tablespoon. We can probably do like 2 tablespoons of this in total. Right? And if you were to taste it, it's like a little bit sweeter. It's got like a really, really fermented flavor. Like a very like fermented grain aspect to it. It is almost like soy sauce like in its own way. This of course like makes for like the best like dumpling sauces. I love Chinese black vinegar. I think everybody should have this in their pantry at home. This is what I use as a base. I didn't have this last time, but this is what I use as a base for like a lot of different dumpling sauces or salads like these. Okay, so a little bit of Chinese black vinegar and then into this bowl. And again, we can always adjust. I just wanted to mix this up in advance and make our lives easier. We're going to do some sesame oil. Whatever amount that is. We don't want too much sesame oil. Sesame oil is going to make it a little bit woody. It's going to make it a little bit nutty, but too much, and it starts to taste like wood. Okay, so sesame oil going behind me. We have no more use for that now. And now, let's talk about some of the scallions for the salad. Let's get some of the scallions going. So, everybody, once again, the way that I always store and I keep fresh herbs at home is like so. In a Tupperware, okay, after I wash and I thoroughly dry, and it doesn't matter what kind of herb it is, I always keep it with a paper towel inside because the paper towel is like a silica packet, is a natural humidity regulator. It's going to stop it from being too moist and it's also going to stop it from being too dry. That way your herbs can last maybe as long as a week depending on when you bought it. Okay, so this is how I always keep my herbs really, really fresh for a long amount of time. Paper towel, closed system, nice and easy. Okay, you can do this with basil, you can do this with parsley, with dill, any kind of fresh herb, or in this case, scallion. So, I want some nice scallion greens for this aspect of the dish. And you guys, you can't have too many scallions, okay? This is a cucumber salad, but you can't have too many scallions. So, you know what? This is a generous amount of scallions for like about 3 cucumbers worth. Maybe even a little bit more. That should be okay. That's almost all of my scallion greens. I already had them somewhat separated. Well, look at that, Kitsune. I'm glad that it worked out. Okay, and then we're not going to need the rest of these scallions for quite some time, so I'm just going to keep these nice and fresh in the fridge. And so there are a couple of cute things that we can do with these scallions. One like fancy method that you can do is you can cut like the greens into like quarters and then slice it up lengthwise, and then the scallions, they basically like blossom into these really pretty curls. In restaurants, they're sometimes called sexy scallions. Okay, but we're not going to do that. I'm not going to do anything crazy like that. I want some nice shrapnel. I want some nice blades of scallions for today. That's all I really, really want. Yeah, I mean, I've heard others, not just like Esther Choi, call them that. But all we're going to do, my friends, and again, this is purely just to get a lot of surface area, just to make it really nice and pretty. I'm going to stack them up, and then I'm going to cut them on a really aggressive bias, and I'm going to cut them paper thin. Okay, we're going to get these really aggressive blades of scallions. Also, welcome on in, Rude Weirdo. So we're going in, and we're getting really, really aggressive, and we're slicing. We're not chopping. We're using the full length of our blade, and we're slicing. And we're going to get these super, super aggressive shrapnel, these blades of scallions, and it's going to be great. And again, you can cut these however you would like for your salad, whatever your textural preferences. I just love having scallions with that much surface area because you really feel them, you really get to see them in a salad like this. Okay, nice sharp knife going all the way through, my friends. Almost done. We're at the end of the stack. And again, we're just slicing base to tip, base to tip, base to tip. And we're going pretty thin because I want them to evenly integrate into the salad. Excellent. Look at that. Big, beautiful batch of all of these freshly sliced up scallions. And again, guys, you can't have too many scallions. You just can't have too many scallions. Also, Eliam, thank you so much for the gifted sub. You can't have too many scallions. Use as many as you would like. You will notice that with this kind of a salad, with a Chinese chopped smashed cucumber salad, I'm not measuring anything. Okay? Trust me, this is the kind of a thing that you put it all together and you can taste it and be like, oh, I want more sesame oil. Oh, I want some more vinegar. Oh, I want some more scallions. The only thing that we really can't do that with is going to be the garlic. We're only going to do one clove of garlic and we'll smash it up in my garlic press. So I'm going to take these scallions and they can go right into the dressing. Right? They can just go directly into the dressing for today's salad. Beautiful. Just take it and clean up your station. Okay? And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to smash up, mince up one clove of garlic. So, everybody, some of you may know this, some of you may not know this, but this is for all of the uninitiated. The rule of thumb with garlic is that the finer you mince it, the stronger, the more potent it gets. That's because there's a very specific chemical reaction at play that produces the pungency of garlic. If you were to take a whole thing of garlic and you were to cook it without smashing it and you took a bite out of it, it would only taste sweet and roasted and not really have any of that garlicky pungency that garlic is infamous for. Okay? The finer you mince it and then cook it or do something else with it, the more profound that pungency is going to be. So that's why we only need one clove of raw garlic. We're not just slicing, we're not roasting this garlic. It's going to be completely raw and it's going to be pressed. We're going to essentially get this garlic as fine as it gets. So we only need this one little teeny tiny clove. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna smash it. Okay, I smashed up this clove. This is so that I can easily peel off the skin because it separates the skin from the rest of the clove. But yeah, garlic is really cool. But this is why you see recipes sometimes call, or dishes call for the difference in sliced or minced, or sometimes you would even have whole garlic. Sometimes you see dishes where they're like, oh, we use 30 cloves of garlic, but they're whole garlic, they're not chopped, so you don't really get any of that pungency. In this case, we're getting the maximum amount of pungency. It's going to be uncooked, it's going to be in a salad. We only need the one clove. I'm slicing off the butt end of it, okay? And I'm just going to press it directly into this. I have my trusty, handy-dandy little garlic press, as always, because again, I hate chopping, especially like one clove of garlic on a cutting board. It just makes no sense to me, and we'll need plenty more garlic later on. We take it, and then we press it. That's it. That's all we got to do. Boop. Nice and easy. And then I'm going to go ahead and set this garlic press aside, because I'm going to use this for some other things later on. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this behind me. We don't really need this at the moment. So yeah, that little bit of garlic, I promise you, you're going to feel it throughout the salad. Because it's pungent, it's strong, it's about as minced as finely as it can humanly be. And some of that pungency is going to die down because we're going to mix it up with the acid. So I'm going to go ahead and set this behind me. I have no more use for this at the moment. And then guys, you can take a look already. I'm going to give you a little bit of a progress update on the cucumbers. You can already see, look how much water they're releasing. And they're going to release even more water in this process of salting them, in the process of brining them. All of that water would have otherwise diluted this beautiful dressing with the sesame oil, with the black vinegar, with the garlic, with the scallions, and we would have ended up with a bland salad. So just mix it up every so often. In total, you want to leave this for about 30 to 45 minutes. You don't want to push it too far past that because then the cucumbers, you risk them becoming a little bit too mushy. So, everybody, little recap session. All we've done is we've accomplished two things. We've made the smashed cucumbers. We took them, we have them, we peeled them a little bit, just so that the skins are not too tough, because cucumber skins can be really, really tough, but they have a lot of flavor. So we keep about half of it on. We smashed it for texture reasons. We chunked it up pretty big pieces, and then we hit it with a bunch of salt to get rid of the excess liquid. And then in this bowl separately, we have, I'm going to just mix it up with a teaspoon, this is going to be the dressing and the rest of the salad ingredients. Okay, so this is some black Chinese vinegar, this is some sesame oil, and a bunch of sliced up scallions and 1 clove of garlic that we put through a garlic press. Okay, so I'm just mixing it up just so the garlic can kind of infuse, but it's fine, it's not super important. No, Tarina, I don't find that it encourages it. I don't think so. Water might though. Water does though. Water tends to make it a little bit more pungent and too off-white. Okay, so we just mix this up and we're just going to add this to the cucumbers after the cucumbers have been allowed to chill out a little bit. We can go ahead and put this behind us. We don't have to really worry about this for the moment. Everybody, we're done with one of the components for today. Wasn't that easy? I think that was pretty easy. That was a pretty simple little cucumber salad. It takes a few minutes to throw together. You just need a little bit of patience and giving it the time that it properly needs to rest and brine. Okay. So let's move on to the next thing. Is everybody ready to move on to the next stage of the operation for today? Is everybody ready to begin? I'm going to quickly wash up my hands though. Perfect. I love, whoa, NB Lexia, I saw you type in yes, and not just a yes chef. I'm not lacking, even if I went ahead to wash up my hands behind me. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, so everybody, this is the cut of beef that you see most typically used in Chinese restaurants for things like beef and broccoli. You see this all the time in stir fries. And this is, in my opinion, one of the most versatile cuts of beef that I have a lot of appreciation for these days. This is a bunch of flank steak. This is approximately 2 pounds of flank steak. For today's stir fry, we're not really going to need more than, just half a pound of this stuff. Okay, we're not really going to need more than half a pound of this stuff. And the reason for that is because when you stir fry things, it has to proportionately scale with your wok or your pan or the cooking surface. Because a stir fry is all about making sure that things actually fry and not steam. If you overcrowd a pan, if you overcrowd a pot, and you have things not fry but they instead steam, they're never going to develop color, and it's all going to just get boiled together and all become really wet and not have the full extent of the flavor. So, in restaurants, the only reason they're able to do really big portions is because they have massive woks that kind of scale through that. So, if you want to do a stir fry for a crowd, I would either A, pick a different dish, or B, learn how to do this in batches. Batch cooking is a little bit more complicated, but that's a different discussion altogether. So sirloin typically comes from the loin where that sort of meets the rump of the animal, right? So it's sort of going down. A flank steak, I actually completely forgot where it's from on the cow. I'm not entirely sure. But, so, this is a flank steak. Everybody, I want you to pay attention to something. Look at the direction of the muscle fibers. The muscle fibers are all going this way. And they're really thick muscle fibers. If you were to cut these parallel to the muscle fibers and eat them as is, you would result in a steak that is really tough and really difficult to chew through. The reason for this is because you're getting a lot longer but fewer strands of fibers, of muscle fibers. In order to ensure that we have a nice, delicious, tender steak, we're going to be cutting it perpendicular to those muscle fibers and on an angle, so that the fibers are a lot shorter in length and we get more of them. Does that make sense? So, you cut it this way, you cut parallel to them, and you're going to get muscle fibers that are way too long and way too chewy. You cut this way, and you're going to get them shorter and nice and tender. So this is 2 pounds. I'm going to go ahead and put this behind me for a second, just so that I can get my cutting board set up. I'm just using a different cutting board, so, no chance of cross-contamination. I don't have to wash things midstream or anything. Okay. Ooh, I've run out of gloves. Oh no. Well, I think we'll be okay for the duration of the stream today. Okay, so I'm gloving up just to make my life easier, just so I don't have to really wash my hands after anything. I'll take this flank steak, and I'm going to probably use this for something else. I might even just use this for Sunday stream instead. Guys, remember, we stream 3 days a week, Wednesdays, Fridays, Sundays, 5 p.m. EST. Okay, if you didn't know that, now you do. Okay, so this is exactly 2 pounds, and we're just going to go ahead and cut it into half-pound slabs, right? Look where it meets. We're going to cut this in half. Where it meets. Little meat pun there. Oh, who'd have thought? Okay. Oh, excellent. It's lovely to have you, Creator Go. Hello. Okay. So this is about 1 pound of flank steak now. And again, I'm only going to need approximately half of this, if not a little bit more for today. Okay? So grab that. This I'm going to go ahead and set aside. I have no use for this at the moment. And so again, let's talk about cutting this. Everybody, this is really, really important. This is a flank steak. Look at the direction of the muscle fibers. They're all going this way. Okay? If they're all going this way, you want to make sure that we're cutting perpendicular to them. But first, we're going to determine the actual width of our slices of meat. I'm going to cut this in half first because this is the total width that I want. Okay? Also, thank you so much to Dosky for the gifted sub. Thank you, thank you. And now, my friends, we're going to cut these into really thin slices if you want. If your meat is too squishy, if your knife is not sharp enough, you want to throw this into a freezer for about 30 minutes or so. But take this meat and you're going to stack it up, okay? And then you're going to go for a nice, medium to thin slice. So this first one's always going to be a little bit awkward. And we're doing this on a bias, again, to maximize the surface area of each of these different slices of flank steak. And we're using the full length of our knife, okay? We're getting a full slice. That one was a little bit too thin that time. We don't want these to be paper thin or anything. But the thinner you get them, the more tender it's going to be at the end of the day. But something like that should be good. Perfect. And we'll go in with the next one. And again, in total, I'm going to maybe get about like 2 portions of stir fry. Guys, a stir fry is not meant to be really eaten on its own. It's going to be served with a bowl of rice. It's going to be served with the side dish of the cucumbers. This is one thing that people get really, really mistaken about a lot of different forms of Asian cooking, but especially Chinese cooking. It's all about having a variety of different dishes. It's not about eating 2 pounds, right? Let's say you get takeout. It's not about eating an entire thing of beef and broccoli on your own. It's about getting a couple of things and sharing it with other people, and you're not digesting that much meat at once. Okay? So, let's keep going through this. Again, we're looking for whatever width this actually is, not too thin, not too thick. We don't really want to be seeing through it. And yes, we will indeed be velveting this. We will be velveting this meat. I'm going to show you and walk you through exactly how we velvet it. And why we do it to begin with in the first place. So again, perpendicular to the grain of the meat, perpendicular to those muscle fibers. And there you go. This is about half a pound of flank steak or so that's now been nicely and easily sliced up. We're going to go ahead and set this aside for a moment. I'm going to take my other flank steak and put it into the fridge because again, I have no more use for that flank steak today. Guys, we have to work with small volumes when you're working at home, okay? This is the kind of a thing that you cannot really scale this sort of a dish to be like, oh, I want to do 1 pound of beef. I promise you, it's not going to work out that easily. So, I'm going to take my other flank steak. This I might use for Sunday. This I might cook up another time. I don't know what I'm doing with that quite yet. We don't have to worry about it though. So, let's talk about this once again. Everybody, I want you all to pay attention. Do I have your attention right now? I want to have your attention. Perfect. This is how you recreate. This is how you get that really, really beautiful, soft, slippery, tender texture, okay, of Chinese takeout when you make it at home. We're going to be doing something called velveting. Velveting is the process of treating a meat with something basic, aka with something alkaline. And the reason for this is because some fancy chemical reactions. I don't have a really good answer for you, but the answer is at the end of the day, basically alkaline things, they make meats more tender. They make them more tender and they give it a bit of a slippery quality to it. If you've ever tried to make a stir fry at home and you're like, my meat, it might be juicy, but it's like a little bit grainy. It doesn't have the right texture. Okay, this is the way that we get that correct texture at home. We're going to velvet it. People do this sometimes with baking soda. We're going to be doing this with an egg white. This is a very traditional way to do it. Okay, an egg white is alkaline, it's basic. It's going to give us that super tender flank steak that we're looking for. Is that clear? Does everybody understand? So, I'm going to take this meat. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set it behind me, or just next to me at the moment because I don't really need it right now. And we're just going to go ahead and whip up the mixture for it, okay? So you want a bowl that's slightly too big. You want a bowl that's slightly too big because we're going to go ahead and get our hands in there, okay? I'm actually going to get another box of gloves. I've realized I've run out of gloves again. So I apologize. Okay, I'm on my 2 last boxes of gloves. Oh no, that's okay. I have a huge supply of gloves. Okay, I know I ran off from the camera, but I'm back. I'm back. Hi. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to start whipping up some egg whites, my friends. So let me show you how to do that. Let me show you how to get started with this. So, egg. We're going to smash it down on a nice flat surface to stop any eggshells from getting inside. And we're going to go over the bowl. Again, this is where we're going to make the rest of the velvety mixture. And we're going to sort of crack it in half, pluck off the top half, okay? And let all of that egg white easily just spill out. Just let all of it spill out, okay? Get it in there. Get it inside. And we're going to be sort of alternating the egg yolk between either half of the eggshell, just like so. And this is sort of cutting out the egg white and lets us get it into the bowl. Right? A little bit snotty, that's okay. I'm not going to save this egg yolk for anything later. It's fine. That's okay. We only need about 1 egg white. We need 1 tablespoon worth. And so, if you want to get really scientific with it, what we do is we're going to beat it up a little bit first so it doesn't hold together as much and then measure it out. Also, welcome on in, Louis Vuit. Welcome on in. Also, by the way, does anybody have any questions about this process so far? You can beat this up with anything you would like. I'm just going to use some chopsticks because it'll make my life easier or so. And we're not really whisking this to make it foamy. We're just breaking this up a little bit so that we can measure it out easier, okay? Because again, you have like this like mucousy membrane, you have some of the more watery bits. You just want to incorporate this until it's all homogeneous, okay? So tilt it on the side, do whatever you got to do, and beat it up, beat it up, beat it up, beat it up. Beat it up until it's all nice and homogeneous, okay? And we're not really trying to get air in there or anything, right? That's not really the goal here. Again, it's just purely for the sake of making this whole thing homogeneous. I'm going to pour this out into a different little bowl, and we're going to see how much we need. Again, in total, I'm shooting for about a tablespoon of egg white here. I don't want to go too much because then it could have too much of that tenderizing effect that I talked about, and we don't want to have too little because then it's not actually going to velvet the meat at the end of the day, okay? So that's my bowl. It has some residual, it has some residual egg white in it, but that's fine. That's not a huge deal or anything. Okay, and I have some proportions laid out, and we're going to be following those proportions. So we need a tablespoon of egg white. Nice and simple, right? So really, and again, it's a little bit foamy right now, so it takes up more volume than you think it does. So just tap it a little bit. We're going to use 1. This is a half tablespoon measure that I have here. 2, and I'm going to use again a little bit more because it is foamy, so it's occupying more volume than it actually is. So in total, this should be about a tablespoon of egg white. You just want to avoid mixing it this much. You don't need it to be that foamy. Okay, and we don't really need the rest of this egg white for anything. I know I'm being a little bit wasteful with it right now, but it's also 1 egg white, so we'll live and we'll be okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this off. So, let's get on with the rest of it. We're going to need about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to need about 2 teaspoons of starch, and we're going to need about 2 teaspoons of the Shaoxing wine, aka Liaojiu. Liaojiu and Shaoxing wine, they get a little bit used interchangeably in the West. You don't have to use Shaoxing wine. You can use anything else that you would like, really, just the, wine is a nice touch. Yeah, it's just really, really important in like the flavor context of a lot of Chinese cooking. So, in fact, I'm just going to do the cornstarch in first. So we need 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, and the idea is we're going to basically build up this coating. So while the egg white is actually actively tenderizing the meat, we're going to do something called passing it through water. We're essentially building up this very slight batter, and we're slightly blanching the beef, okay? And what this does is it creates this really, really stable coating that lets us easily stir fry the meat and give it a lot of color. If we were just to marinate the meat and then put it into a really hot vessel, it tends to release a lot of water really quickly. Okay? It tends to release a lot of water and then you're not really stir frying at that point. And so, we're not just using baking soda, we're basically building up this whole coating, and at the same time we're tenderizing it. So it's very, very multi-purpose at once. So, a little bit of Shaoxing wine. Again, you can use whatever you would like here if you don't have this, if you don't have access to Liaojiu. It's not the most incredibly necessary component in my experience. So we're going to do about 2 teaspoons of this or so. 1 and a little bit less because I poured it over the top a little bit. 2 teaspoons of the Shaoxing. And we don't need any more of this stuff today. So I'm going to go ahead and set this away. We do not need it. Okay, next. What is the other component that we need? We got the cornstarch, we have the egg white, we have the shaoxing, and now we're going to need about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm not really going to measure out the 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to use 2 big pinches of kosher salt, and that should be more than okay. And there's going to be plenty more salty components. Everybody, don't forget about the rest of the salty components. It's going to have oyster sauce, it's going to have dark soy sauce, so we don't really need the meat to be fully salted at this stage or anything. So, all we want to do now is we want to take the cornstarch, we want to take the egg white, we want to take the salt, and again, I'm using the Serious Eats method for water velveting. Okay, in fact, I think a whisk would probably be a better tool just to get everything nicely incorporated. You want to get this whole thing nice and homogeneous, okay? We're using the Serious Eats method for water velveting. This is what I do. Traditionally, you would do something called passing it through oil, okay, and not water, but I don't love deep frying at home. So, just take it, and yeah, a whisk is doing a much better job here. Oh, Kitsune Kokun, I mean, I love MSG, right? It has a place for everything. In fact, we might even do a little pinch of MSG in this. It's fine. MSG just adds a little bit of meatiness. I will say this whole thing of like, people sort of glorifying and romanticizing MSG, I know it's like a slight overreaction to like the many, many years and the many decades where MSG was like heavily demonized. But at this point, it's just become a little bit cliche. I've had enough people make their whole brands about MSG and I'm just bored of it. Yeah, MSG is fine. It's an ingredient like anything else is, you know. So, this seems to be nicely and fully incorporated now. Again, you want to make sure this is nice and homogeneous. Everybody, once again, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of shaoxing, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of egg white. Okay, all together. And the idea of this is we're going to basically build up this really, really beautiful coating on the meat itself. We're going to build up this coating. We're going to let it sit for 30 minutes. We don't want to let it sit too much longer than that. But that coating is going to get really, really quickly blanched in some boiling water, and that's going to set the outside of this meat and let us stir fry it really, really easily. Okay, so please do not forget that step, everybody. It is essential. So, 1/2 pound flank steak. Again, if you want to know more about this method, I recommend that you check out the Serious Eats article on water velveting. If anybody ever needs any sort of like culinary reference, I really highly recommend Serious Eats. And we're just going to take it and we're going to massage it in, and we're just going to make sure that it is covered on all sides. Does everybody understand? This is velveting. This is how you get that iconic, iconic texture. Okay? Smells great, smells like the shaoxing. And again, we don't have any of the sauces, any of the other flavors. This is not about building a flavor at this stage. This is just about us being able to build up a lovely coating. Okay? So take it and really, really, you want to really make sure it's mixed up. You cannot over mix this. You can 100% under mix this. So separate out the pieces, separate your little bits of flank steak. Okay? Separate it. Just make sure that every single side of these bad boys is fully covered. And this is going to now get nice and tender. Everybody, you're going to want to set a timer for about 30 minutes. In fact, I might just do this in a smaller bowl because this is taking up like a lot of space, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm going to cover this with plastic. You don't have to do this in the fridge. You can do this outside of the fridge. It doesn't really matter. It's just going to be out for 30 minutes. Set a timer. The 30 minutes, although you can definitely like play with it, like you can go like up to an hour or so, you don't want to push it too far because otherwise it's going to completely ruin the texture of the meat. Okay, it's not going to be pleasant. We're looking for like a slippery bounciness, but we're still looking for some amount of tenderness. The plastic wrap here is not particularly essential either. I'm just doing this so the top of the meat doesn't dry out, right? Because we added cornstarch to it. This can easily dry out if we let it. So I'm gonna put this like this, and I'm just gonna go ahead and set this behind me. I have no more use for it at the moment. And everybody, I'm going to take a second to clean up, and then we'll do a little bit of a recap session. So everybody following along so far? I wanna hear yes, chef. I'm setting a timer for 30 minutes. 10, 20, 30, perfect. Okay, gotta check a notification really quickly. Okay. Sorry, I just have to check something really quickly. Okay, hi. And guys, we're cooking at home, so you know what that means? We're putting things away into the dishwasher. Okay, we're getting things going, we're getting things done, so that at the end of the stream, I'm not left with a massive mess of a bunch of dirty dishes. Take my chopsticks, put those away, my little plates, and then we'll do a little recap session for everybody that may just now be tuning in. Okay. Set this behind me. Excellent. That's all looking really, really good. Okay, I think that should be just about everything that I was looking to clean up. Yeah, that looks pretty good at the moment. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I need to do. Hi, hello, how's everybody doing? Is everybody keeping up okay? Does anybody have any questions at this moment in time? We're going to make the best beef stir fry possible. It's going to be amazing. We're going to give it a lot of love. We're going to give it a lot of effort. Okay, it's going to be awesome. We'll also do a little recap session right now. I think I got most of my cleanup done that I really needed to. So, everybody, we're making 3 separate things today. Also, hello to Hando, welcome on in. We're making 3 separate things today. We're doing a smashed cucumber salad. We're going to be doing a lovely beef tomato stir fry. It's going to be really delicious. It's going to be super tasty. And we're also doing some fluffy warm rice. So, we have finished all of the prep for the cucumber salad. Everybody, as you can see, this is my cucumber salad, the start of it at least. These are a bunch of cucumbers sitting with salt. So what we did was we peeled about half of it, right? I'm just going to continue to mix this up just to make sure the salty brine is all over it. Okay? We cut them in half. We peeled them up, but we didn't remove all the peels. We removed some of them so the peels aren't too tough. They don't make the cucumbers too tough. We smashed them for texture reasons, and then we chunked it up, and then we hit it with a bunch of salt. Because remember, when you make cucumber salads, when you make tomato salads, they're full of liquid, they're full of water. They will make your salad soggy, they will dilute your dressings, they will make the whole thing bland. So we're letting it sit with salt for about 30 minutes in total, and that will allow us to strain it off. And we'll have the best salad ever, and in the process, we're fully seasoning the cucumbers. Excellent. So, for the salad itself, we have this lovely dressing, and we can always adjust it. I have 1 clove of minced up garlic. I have a bunch of scallions. I have a couple splashes of Chinese black vinegar. I love the taste of Chinese black vinegar. It's really nice and fermented. It's got like a bit of a it almost has like a bit of a soy quality to it, just because of the fact that it has also fermented grains in it. It's really, really tasty. Alongside some sesame oil. The sesame oil you want to make sure you don't have too much of. And again, after we mix up the salad, we can always adjust it. Okay? And then we did a little something called velveting. I had half a pound of flank steak. I showed you how to chop it up so it's nice and tender. And we combined it with egg white, with cornstarch, with Shaoxing wine. Okay? And a little bit of salt. The salt is going to season it. The cornstarch is going to build up a coating. Okay? The egg white is basic, it's alkaline, so it's going to make this really nice and tender. This is how you get that slippery takeout texture. Okay, so that's everything that's going right now at the moment. And so the other things that we have to do is we gotta prep everything for the stir fry. Everybody, when it comes to a stir fry, you have to get your mise en place ready. You have to get all of your other ingredients ready to go. Because when you're stir frying, it just goes and it happens fast. You don't wanna be chopping things in the middle of a stir fry. You want to make sure that everything is sliced, that everything is ready to go when you need it. Okay? Are we clear? Does everybody understand me? With the stir fry, you have to make sure that everything is done in advance and ready to go. Because when it's time to stir fry, everything just gets dumped into the pan. We're moving fast. So, everybody, also, if you haven't already done so, please check out the Patreon. Please type in exclamation mark Patreon. Any and all help there would be really, really appreciated. I'm trying to get the groceries for these streams funded. I have a lot of expenses with these streams. I want to make this my full-time job. If you're able to support, it would go a really long way. It'd be very sweet of you. Alternatively, you can also subscribe. You can also type in exclamation mark tip or donate if you would like to support and you'd like what you see. And at any point, I'm here to answer your cooking questions. I'm here to help you learn how to cook at home. Okay, so everybody, let's begin with the rest of the prep that we need to get done for today. So the first step is going to be slicing up these tomatoes. This is, of course, a beef and tomato stir fry. So I have these 2 beautiful plum tomatoes. The reason I love doing plum tomatoes for something like a stir fry is because compared to other tomatoes of this size, they have a lot less seeds. They're a lot less wet. The flesh tends to be a bit thicker. Okay, you can theoretically use other kinds of tomatoes, but it will flood your pan a lot sooner. I'm going to also quickly rinse off my knife because I was cutting meat with it. I want to make sure that's nice and sanitized. before we proceed. So I'm just giving that a little wash. So please bear with me for a moment. And I'm going to show you exactly how we slice up these tomatoes for today's stir fry. And you don't want to cut your tomatoes too far in advance. If you cut your tomatoes too far in advance, they'll just end up getting really, really soggy. And we want them to hold up in their shape. We want the size and shape to hold up while we cook them. Okay? So 2 beautiful plum tomatoes. Everybody, if you have seen the way that I prep tomatoes, you know that I do something that is not particularly popular. I do something that I think is the method that everybody should do. So commonly, when you see people say, oh, you're going to want to core a whole tomato, they take a paring knife and they go in there and they saw it and they destroy the inside of the flesh and they risk stabbing themselves. That is not how I like to core my tomatoes. Coring your tomatoes is important because you get rid of the woody end. Also, I have made a tomato egg stir fry before. I don't like coring my tomatoes like that, but we still need to get rid of it. So what do? We're going to need to slice it in half anyways. So we take it and we slice it in half. You need a nice sharp knife, and we're going all the way through. Okay, we're going to do the same exact ones to the other side, right through the core. We're slicing it in half, and then we're going to take it, we're going to pick it up in our hands, we're going to cup it, and we're going to make a diagonal incision in, and then out pops out the core of the tomato, nice and easily. So we're not sawing, we're not using a paring knife. This is my ideal way to do it. We have a lot more control this way, and it's a lot easier and a lot cleaner. This is not what most people do. Also, Hondo, I hate ceramic knives. I hate ceramic knives to death. I don't think anybody should own one because they chip and they get dull and you can't sharpen them again. They look pretty, they look cute, but they scratch up like nobody's business. Nobody should own ceramic knives. There is not a single place for them in the kitchen. There is not a single place. They're meant to be replaced. Everybody, with so many cooking products, so many kitchen products, they're built to look pretty and then you have to replace them in a year anyways when they end up breaking. I do not like ceramic knives. So, 1 and 2. Excellent. I'm using my Mizuno UX10. I love this knife. Okay, so the beauty of coiling this way, again, we didn't have to do that sawing motion. We didn't need a paring knife or anything. We were able to keep it really, really simple. Ceramic box cutter? Yes, because box cutters are meant to be replaced anyways, though. Obsidian knives. I don't know if I've ever used an obsidian knife. So, everybody, we don't want slices that are too thick and we don't want them to be too thin. We're not really going to end up stir frying it. It's going to end up steaming, but we can always get a little bit of color on these, right? So we're slicing and we're going through it, right? We want a nice sharp knife just so we can go fully through the length of the tomato. That's a really decent tomato. So take it and gently stack it up. Gently hold it together. Not too thin, not too thick. Ooh, maybe my knife isn't as sharp as it really should be for this task at the moment, which is a little bit concerning because these were recently sharpened, but that's okay. So, remember this whole rant I went on about like how you need sharp knives? Ugh, I'm a bit of a hypocrite, aren't I? Okay, it seems the base of it is nice and sharp still, so I'm going to use that to make my initial incision, but I'm not happy about that. And a nice sharp knife is going to make sure that your knife does not slip when you're cutting tomatoes. So this is actually just not ideal. 1, 2. And again, guys, it's the winter time, so these tomatoes are only going to get so good. We might even end up adding a little bit of sugar, which I normally never do when cooking. It's just fairly traditional in like some Chinese like tomato stir fries. So 2 plum tomatoes, we sliced it up. Okay. I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to just wipe off my cutting surface just to make sure we're staying nice and dry, we're staying nice and clean throughout this whole thing. Okay, next thing we got to do, we're going to chop up some scallions. So the scallions for the stir fry, we're actually going to do a little bit differently. The scallions we will do differently. Everybody, one of my favorite things, one of my favorite textures in a stir fry is biting into like that really like squishy cooked scallion, right? Like, or think of like the texture in like a beef negimaki or something. I love it. So we have a lot of these scallion whites. Also, thank you for stopping by, Dosky. It was lovely to have you as always. I'm going to take all of these scallion whites and these greens I'm going to save for garnish. Okay, take all these scallion whites. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the root off of them. Okay. We're going to cut the root off because we have no use for it. Of course, it does not go into the stir fry. And all we're going to do, guys, is we're just going to cut these bad boys in half. Nothing else. Or rather, we want to basically match the length and the size of everything else we have. So in half will be okay. In half will be more than fine. This is exactly what I want for my scallions. I don't want these minced up. I don't want these crushed up. I want to be able to bite into this really, really beautiful sauteed scallion. Okay? This is one of my favorite textures. So I'm going to just put that on a separate little plate. I can go ahead and set that behind me. Okay? And then we can slice up those little scallion greens that we have. I have this little cute little condiment bowl. The rest of these scallion greens we will now use up, guys. And remember, we're making Chinese food here. You can't really have too many scallions. I love scallions and everything. These scallion greens, we're going to add them at the end. So same exact thing that we did for the salads, except maybe a little bit thicker. We're going to do these big blades, these really, really aggressive blades of scallion, okay? And just going to get finished at the end. These are not going to get cooked through, whereas those scallion whites are going to get stir-fried a little bit. And that way, we get two different textures and two different tastes of scallion. We get some of like these really nice garnishing ones, and then we also get like the really like sweeter cooked down scallion whites. Okay, excellent. Just like that. Sweet. I'm going to go ahead and set that behind me. I have no more use for it at the moment. And now, the other stuff that we really have to chop up, the other stuff that we really have to prep is going to be the garlic and the ginger. And then we just got to assemble the sauce, and then we'll be good. Okay? We'll be great. So, garlic, ginger, ready to go. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the garlic, and we're going to peel it up. We're going to take it, and I'm going to want about, I think, like 3 cloves. Or so minced up. I think that'll be nice for something like this. These are 3 generous cloves. Again, I love garlic. You can't really have too much of it. Or maybe you can, depending on you. Not me, though. 3 cloves of garlic. The ginger I'm going to set aside for now. And all I'm going to do is also, in the meantime, I don't need this Tupperware anymore. This is done. It's done its job for us. I'm going to just set that aside, set that behind me. Okay. So, for the garlic, same exact idea. Also, welcome on in, WW. Hope you're having a really good day today. Does anybody have any questions about the process? We're just smashing them down once again, just to be able to easily peel those skins off. 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. I don't know why I kicked them off my cutting board. And now, as always, now that we've done that, we can easily take off, or somewhat easily, we should be able to, take off the rest of the skin from the clove. Just pops out, just like that. Take it out, pop it out. Go through it one by one, and then, guys, we'll work on the rice as well. We'll do that in just a few moments. Come on. This garlic. Is there a cooking technique you don't like because you think it ruins the ingredients, Rude Burrito? Is there a cooking technique I don't like? I feel like there's no such thing as a bad cooking technique. There's definitely techniques that are like not well executed, like people don't do it particularly well. Or like they don't really know what they're doing, but I don't think there's such a thing as I can't name off the top of my head an objectively bad cooking technique. Like every single cooking technique, will inevitably have its place in the kitchen. So I don't know, I don't know if there's a good way to answer that. So guys, once again, we have our 3 garlic cloves, and as usual, we have a lovely handy dandy little garlic press ready to go. We're going to cut these dried off butts off each of these cloves. Just get those out of here. We have no use for them. Okay? But yeah, I don't think there's such a thing as a bad technique. Well, in fact, there's no such thing as a bad dish. There's only bad execution. Okay? And, that's the wrong container. We want to go in a cute little condiment bowl that we have set aside. And we're going to just dump in the garlic one by one. And we're going to dump it in one by one. Like that. And last one going in now. Oop, I actually cut off the wrong end of it, not the dried off root end. Take it and put it inside. Oh, dishwasher cooking. Yeah, but that's just a meme. Nobody does that. I mean, like serious cooking techniques, right? That weren't just like little internet fads some time ago. Okay. This is all the nicely pressed up garlic. Again, I'm using 3 cloves of garlic here for this portion of stir fry. The amount of it doesn't really matter. You just want to feel the garlic. I want to have the taste of the garlic perfume through everything, and I like having a lot of garlic. Okay? And with a garlic press, because I'm done with it now, I no longer need it. I'm just going to poke it with a brush to make sure that nothing is stuck on the inside, right? Because things will dry out in your garlic press if you let it. Okay. So that's the garlic, and now let's work on a piece of ginger. So this is the one aromatic that I actually do not want too much of in a kitchen. I find that garlic, people sort of overdo it sometimes. It's all about the balance. Everybody, Chinese cooking, stir fries, especially when you're using something like ginger, it's all about the balance of it. So we have a slightly dried off end. I'm not gonna use this, it's just like a little bit dried, it's a little bit old. Okay, I'm using this much ginger through the whole thing. This much. I promise you, it's going to be plenty. We're still going to be able to feel it, but I don't want the ginger to become so overpowering. I eat a lot of people's home stir fries, and I bite into it, and I'm like, whoa, the only thing I'm really getting here is ginger. Okay, and that is not what I'm looking for with this. So, whatever amount of ginger this is, that's how much I'm using for the stir fry. And I'm just going to go around it with this little knife. You know, you can use a cute little paring knife. You can use a spoon if you would like. I just like using a knife. Makes my life a lot easier. Okay, nice and easy. Guys, again, when it comes to a stir fry, you have to get all of this prep done in advance. You do not want to be doing this in the middle of a stir fry. You want to measure everything out. You want to portion everything out. You just want it ready to go. Okay? Do you understand? Is everybody clear? Okay. I no longer need this knife. This I'm just going to dump in my sink, deal with that later on. You have to do this stuff in advance. It is essential. So, we have this little thing of ginger. Okay, and I'm just going to give this, you can give this a slight mash, a slight tap if you want. It's kind of difficult to do because I'm vertically stacking it, so it's not very successful. If it was any thicker, I'd be able to do that, but it's not, so yeah, it's just not going to work out. It's fine. So all we're going to do is we're going to thinly slice it, and then we're going to go through it a couple of times to get it fully minced up. I've tried to do ginger in a garlic press. It's too fibrous. A garlic press is really only suited to garlic. I've tried, it doesn't work out. I'm very annoyed about it, but that's okay. So, and then we take it and we stack it up the other way. And again, we're going thin. We're trying to basically match the texture of all of the garlic that we did with the ginger. Using a petty knife for this is also really nice. It's nice and small. It'll keep it together a lot easier. Okay, and we're just going to go through this a couple more times. Nice and easy, guys. I don't want to see you log chop it. And again, you can see how much volume of ginger we actually have here from that one tiny piece of ginger. Guys, do not overdo it with ginger in your stir fries unless you want that to be a main component. Stir fries are about balancing everything. It's about the harmony of everything. You have a lot of ingredients going into this. You have a lot of sauces. You want to be able to taste every single component. You want to feel all of them. You don't want any one of them to overpower another. Okay, so that's getting there. We're just going to give this a couple more passes through. And then we'll be done with it, okay? Take it and bunch it up and finely mince it. Yeah, exactly. Ginger and garlic are incredible when well balanced. I just do not like having either one of them overpower an entire dish because they can really easily end up doing just that. Okay. So, I think that's fine enough. You don't have to go too crazy with this process. I wish my garlic press would be able to do this for me all in one fell swoop, but alas, it does not. Washing up my hands really quickly, and I think that is actually all of the chopping that we needed to get done. We'll do a little recap in just a second, actually. I think that'll be good for us. Take this, and we're going to be adding this with the garlic at the same time, so it's all going to go into the same vessel. Take it, and bunch it all up together and drop it into the container of garlic. Just like that. Excellent. Okay, and I'm going to show you everything that we've managed to do thus far for the stir fry. So these are the main components. None of these are the wet components. None of these are my sauces or anything, but we'll get to all of those in a little bit. Everybody, we're doing a beef tomato stir fry today. You can type in exclamation mark menu if you ever get lost in that. So we have a bunch of garlic and ginger chopped up because, again, these are essential aromatics. They're going to flavor the entire dish. We have some of these scallion whites that are going to also end up getting stir-fried a little bit. And these bad boys, they're going to be nice and sweet. They'll give a really good crunch. They'll give a really good bite. We have some scallion greens that we'll finish the stir-fry with. And the tomatoes, which they'll get like fried a little bit in, but they're still going to be like half raw, half cooked. Okay? And then we did a little something called velveting. So in this massive bowl, I have sitting half a pound of flank steak that is currently sitting with some egg white, with some cornstarch, some Shaoxing wine, okay, and some salt. And the egg white, it is basic, it is alkaline. It's going to make this meat really, really nice and tender. The salt is going to brine it, it's going to fully season it, and we basically made this coating using the egg white, using the Shaoxing, using the cornstarch that will then coat the meat. That is all the prep that we needed to do for that. The last thing we're going to do is measure out the wet ingredients. But before we do that, everybody, I'm going to do something. We are going to get the rice cooking for today because I want to get the rice done in advance. I don't want to have to worry about it. Let's talk about the rice. Everybody, do I have your attention? I want to make sure I have everybody's attention right now. I don't use a rice cooker. I don't need a rice cooker. Okay? What's a good substitution for oyster sauce if someone is allergic to it? You can use vegan oyster sauce. You can find some available. Okay? I don't use a rice cooker. I make perfect stovetop rice every single time. So, my number one piece of advice. You want to use the same vessel when you're just starting out so that you get a feel of the vessel. A lot of people say, oh, you know, oh, it's going to be mushy. Oh, you're never going to get the right texture. My texture on my rices made in a pan, in a pot, are always perfect. So I'm using some sushi rice because this is my favorite kind of textured rice. You can use jasmine, you can use whatever kind of rice that you would like for this. Okay, brown rice is a little bit different. I wanted the soft fluffiness of sushi rice. So that's going in. I'm not measuring. We're not using volume. We're not using anything like that. We're not going crazy with this. I'm just pouring in some rice into my saucepan. Okay? I'm going to have to go off camera to actually wash this up. But everybody, mushy rice does not happen because you overcook it. Mushy rice happens when it absorbs too much liquid. I will show you the exact ratio, the exact amount of water that I want in my finished rice. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a little claw with my hands. I'm going to just put on a glove so that I don't, agitate my hands. I have eczema. I'm going to wash this up off camera, chat, behave. While I'm gone doing that, I will peek over. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer in the meantime? While I can do that. So I'm going to just be rinsing it and I'm going to be agitating it and pulling out the water about 7 or 8 times. 7 or 8 times, 9 times until it's mostly clear. Okay? Until it's mostly clear, and then we'll be okay. Is this a Kenji recipe? It is not. This is not a Kenji recipe. This is my own stir fry because I had some tomatoes I wanted to use up and I really wanted to get some beef in. But I am using the Serious Eats method for the water velveting. The water pass on the velveting is a Serious Eats method. But I don't like to use other people's recipes. All I want to show you guys, I want to show you technique. I want to show you fundamentals. I want to show you the biggest takeaways of the stir fry so far is you want to get all of your prep done in advance. I showed you the technique of velveting, which isn't necessarily my own. Okay? And we're just getting things done in advance. We're being very, very specific with this process. Okay. Almost done, guys. I'm just washing up the rice until it's basically running clear. If I did have to use a different pot, so that's a really good question. You want to just make sure the pot that you're doing this in isn't too wide for the amount of rice that you're making. The wider the pot is, okay, the more rice volumetrically you have to do. And if you're not looking to develop a crust on the rice, you're going to end up with a lot more crust than you would, rice. Now, I will say this, if you're doing this in a non-stick pot, you end up developing a little bit less crust, a little bit less dried out rice on the bottom. I love, 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 love the crispy rice at the bottom. I love doing this in a stainless steel pot as a result. Do this in a non-stick pot and you'll just get less of it. And it'll be like more evenly steamed through. Okay? And guys, we're almost done washing this up. We're almost done. Again, we're just going until it's basically running clear. We're agitating it, we're moving it around with our hands, we're getting it done. Couple more passes. And that should be okay. Okay, lovely. Everybody, thank you for your patience. Thank you for bearing with me for this process. So I'm going to show you this really quickly. I want you to see the amount of water that I have over the rice. This is how you stop getting mushy rice. You have to be incredibly intentional with the amount of liquid that you have. The more liquid, the more mushy it's going to be. The less liquid, the more granular it's going to be. So I fill water to the surface. I don't use this fingertip trick. I don't like doing that. I just go visually, because everybody's fingernail sizes are different. You know, people say, oh, measure with your fingernail. I don't do that. This amount, if I had to guess, that's about a 1/4 inch of water atop it, is going to give me the granular, fluffy rice that I'm looking for. If you want it super granular, you would use less water. This also depends on the evaporation of your device, of your vessel. This lid is pretty tight fitting. If my lid wasn't as tight fitting, I would need slightly more liquid to account for evaporation. That's why I say you want to do this over and over in the same vessel, that you build up a feel for it. Okay? You want to build up a feel for this kind of a thing. And so, all we do is we bring this up to a boil uncovered, put a lid on it, drop it to a super low simmer, and cook it for 20 minutes. You cannot overcook rice. You'll just develop more crust on the bottom, okay? And you'll end up drying it out slightly, but it will not become mushy by overcooking it. It will only become mushy, okay, if you add too much water. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to put this on the stove. You guys don't really have to see that process, it's just going to be happening. I'm doing a medium heat to bring it up to a boil, and then I'm going to drop it to a simmer, nice and easy. The meat is almost done velveting. It has about 3 minutes left in that process. Let's start measuring out some of my wet ingredients. And so, again, this is why I really, really like these condiment bowls that I have here. These things are really nice for something like this. So, let's measure stuff out. In total, I'm going to need about 1.5 tablespoons of dark soy sauce. I love using dark soy sauce. This is the one that I have. Okay, this is the Lee Kum Kee dark soy sauce. You can use any kind of soy sauce, but the dark soy sauce, it's a little bit more fermented. It has a little bit more oomph. Okay, so dark soy sauce, this is about a 1/2 tablespoon measure I have here. 1, 2, and again, I want like 1.5 tablespoons of this stuff going in. Okay, and because the soy sauce is going to get added at the same time as the oyster sauce, I feel like I can just add them in at the same time and it'll be okay. So, take that. Now, oyster sauce, in terms of actually getting it out of the bottle, is always going to be a little bit tricky. This is the equivalent of like a glass ketchup bottle. So you just want to hit it on the bottom like that, and then maybe we can measure it out or so. But it's never going to be too easy. So in terms of oyster sauce, we're only going to need about 1 tablespoon, a little bit less than. Otherwise, it's just going to be a little bit too intense in my experience. I could have added those to the same container, but I didn't. So I'd like only doing 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce for something like this. Yeah, I could have added them in, I could have combined them together, but that's okay. It does look like molasses. The stuff is really, really thick. Okay, in fact, I'm just going to go back to my original suggestion. I'm just going to do them in one, because we're going to add them in at the same time. It's going to make our lives a lot easier here. Okay? Just mix that up. Okay, excellent. And this is what's going to give our sauce a lot of oomph, a lot of flavor, a lot of funk. This is going to be the base flavor for this today. Okay? And the meat is almost done velveting in this process, which is great. So, that's the oyster sauce. Next, I'm going to also portion out some sesame oil to finish everything with. You don't have to do this in a separate container. I just like doing that. Okay? This is the sesame oil that this whole thing is going to get finished with. And then, we're also going to set up a little thing of cornstarch. This is how we thicken everything. So we're going to naturally get some of the pectin, some of the sugar, some of the starches from the tomato that will thicken things, but I just find it's nice to have a little bit of extra. Okay? And we're going to only add some as needed. So in total, it's going to be about like 2 teaspoons of cornstarch or so, nothing too crazy, and then we'll thin it out with water and make a slurry. But that is how we get like that thick, delicious viscosity in today's thing, in today's stir fry. So, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Again, we don't necessarily have to add all of it at once at the moment. Right? And we can just leave the spoon in there as well. We're not going to use all of this. That's the timer telling us the velveting has concluded. Okay. And now, I'm going to just put these things on a separate plate. Just to be able to organize everything. Also, hello, Allie. Welcome on in. Hello, hello. I'm just going to put this all on a separate plate just to make my life a little bit easier here. For when it's actually time to add everything inside. Okay, just like so. So again, sesame oil, dark soy sauce and oyster sauce, and cornstarch, which we're going to make into a slurry with a little bit of water later on. I think I no longer need my cutting board for anything. So, everybody, you ready for the recap session? Is everybody ready to do the Daramgar recap? I think we're done with all of the prep for today. The last thing is I'm going to get my colander prepared for when we pass it through water. Okay, and I'm going to talk to you about why we do this. So, as always, I have a wet paper towel under my cutting board and I can use this just to wipe down my station, keeping everything nice and clean. So, everybody, we're making a beef tomato stir fry alongside a smashed cucumber salad and some fluffy warm white rice. Currently on the stove on a medium heat, I'm bringing my rice up to a boil. I'm going to drop it to a simmer and cook it for 15 minutes with the lid on as soon as it comes up to a boil. And these are my sauces. Those are my flavors. Okay, this is my next arrangement right here. And then we'll get to the actual velveted meat itself. Okay, that's boiling. Drop that to a simmer and cook that for 20 minutes, 10, 20, lovely. So everybody, this is what we need for the beef tomato stir fry. Scallion whites, these are going to get slightly fried and I want these to be a nice, sweet, delicious bite. It's pronounced Daramgar, yeah. This is some garlic and ginger, not too much ginger, but we have 3 cloves of garlic, a little piece of ginger, and this is going to give the whole thing a really nice base aromatic flavor. These scallion greens are going to get finished in the stir fry, okay? But the scallion whites, they're going to get added at a different time, so we have 2 different dimensions and angles of those. I have some lovely plum tomatoes here, okay, that we sliced up a little bit, okay, because this is indeed a beef tomato stir fry. And then over here, we have a tablespoon and a half of dark soy sauce, oyster sauce, we have some sesame oil, and we have cornstarch with which we'll make a slurry. We don't have to do this too far in advance, but this is how we're going to thicken everything today. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and set all of this stuff behind me, and it's quite a bit of stuff. Okay? And this, my friends, this is the base of today's stir fry. This is a bunch of lovely beef. And yes, you can absolutely say Dara for short because that's my name. This is beef. This was flank steak. We cut it against the grain so it's nice and tender. And we did something called velveting. So we combined this whole thing with some egg white, with some cornstarch, and the egg white is going to make it nice and tender. When you add something basic, when you add something alkaline, it tenderizes meats. Everybody, this is how you get that Chinese takeout texture on your meats at home. This is how you do it. This is how you get it done. This is how you get that slippery feel to it. The salt in there is going to brine it and fully season it, and the egg white and the Shaoxing wine and the cornstarch were essentially going to build up a coating. The number one mistake that you can make now, everybody, I need you all to pay attention. We do not stir fry this immediately. If we wanted to stir fry this immediately, what would happen was it would just stick to the bottom of the pan, no matter what we did to it, and it would make a mess, and it would smell like frying burnt cornstarch. We have to seal it absolutely, Serena. And with that, we're going to quickly pass it through some water. Traditionally, you would do an oil pass, but we're just going to pass this through some boiling water with a splash of oil in there for about 40 seconds. We're not cooking it through. The reason we do that is so that we get the meat nice and firm. That lets us then stir fry it with ease. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm just mixing it up, and I currently have a pot of water boiling away on the stove. I'm going to show you that pot of water. Okay? So I'm breaking it up a little bit because it's stuck together in this process. And this was velveting all together with that mixture for 30 minutes. I'm using the Serious Eats water velveting method for this. Okay. My water has yet to come to a boil, so we'll be there in just a moment. And in the meantime, everybody, we also made this beautiful smashed cucumber salad. This whole time, my cucumbers were sitting with a bunch of salt. I want you to see, look at how much liquid. Look at all of that liquid coming out of these cucumbers. All of that would have ended up into the salad if we didn't salt it. So we salted it to get rid of it. And then we have this beautiful dressing of black Chinese vinegar, scallions, garlic, and sesame oil. So fully seasoned salted cucumbers. Now let's go ahead and put this into a colander. I'm going to put into a colander. Okay, just like so. Not directly on my table. I'm going to do this over the sink, but I do want to show you I want to show you how much water we end up collecting. So I'm going to first do this over a bowl, because I want you all to actually physically see how much we get out of this. Is this going to fit? Oh, it doesn't fit into the bowl. Oh no. Do I have another bowl that I can use for this somewhere? I think I might have a glass bowl somewhere. I don't really like using glass bowls. But again, I just want to show you how important this process is, okay? Because this process is no joke. It's really, truly no joke. Okay, part 2. Is this bowl too big or too small? It's too small. Fine, I'm going to get another bowl. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime while I'm getting a third bowl out? Just to see if I can do this. I just want to show you guys this salad. That's all I ever wanted to do. Okay, I'm just using this colander because we're going to need this for the beef anyways. So take the cucumbers and we're going to dump it in. Okay? And we're just going to get in there, we're going to take a glove, and we're just going to mix this around a touch. Yeah, a mesh strainer, the issue is they clog up too easily. We don't need a mesh strainer for something like this. A colander does this job a lot easier for us. So just move this around a little bit just to get all the water through. It's fine if like some of it remains. But again, guys, I want to show you. Look at the quantity of liquid that would have otherwise ended up in the salad. All of this would have ended up diluting the dressing, and now the cucumbers are perfectly seasoned. This liquid is too salty. All of this cucumber liquid would have ended up in the salad. Also, a strainer is kind of like a handheld thing, and a colander is sort of like these big, wide hold ones. And yes, I do this with tomatoes all the time. Good question, Allie. We do this on stream with tomatoes all the time here. So, beautiful question. Okay, and now, guys, let's finish making the salad. Nice and easy. Again, if there's some liquid on those cucumbers left over, it's chill. It's not a big deal. But we just wanted to get rid of most of it. And now we take the rest of the cucumbers and we dump them in. Okay, I'm going to put this behind me. And now, this is where we build the rest of the salad. So this is the dressing with the scallions, the finely sliced scallion, the minced up garlic, the black Chinese vinegar. And again, it has plenty of salt. The vinegar is slightly salty, but also the cucumbers, they've soaked up as much salt as they need. And now we're going to take all of this and we're just going to mix it together with the sesame oil. Ooh, look at the salad. Nice and simple, huh? You don't want any more salt at this point. It'll be plenty salty. I promise. Get it? Get it, get it, get it? Excellent. Look at that salad. Nice and simple. And it smells excellent. Smells good. It's so simple. Let's take a little bite out of it. Just keep mixing it. Get it all the way through. You know what? That amount of vinegar was perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to go ahead and put this into the fridge. Everybody, my cucumber salad is done. You saw how easy that was. You saw how little effort that was. We just gave it the right love. We gave it the right technique. We didn't just throw it all together in a bowl. We didn't end up with a soggy salad. No, 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 no. We gave it the right technique. We gave it the right love. And as a result, we have a beautiful salad ready to go. So, everybody, guess what? We're now in the final stages. We gotta now pass our meat through some water. So let's head to the stove. You can see I have a pot of boiling water here. It's almost there. We're just gonna finish it up on the boil. Over here, I have my rice going. It has about 13 minutes left on it. It's on a super low heat because we don't wanna burn the bottom. Nice and patient with it, nice and patient. So here is the order of operations. We're going to take the meat. We're going to pass it through water, only 40 seconds to a minute tops. We take it, we strain it out, we let it steam dry. Then we take this pan, we're gonna heat up until smoking a couple tablespoons of peanut oil. And then we stir fry the meat, we take out the meat. We stir fry the scallions alongside the ginger and the garlic, we add in the tomatoes. We're gonna add in the sauces. This is why you wanted to make sure that all of your prep was nicely and beautifully done in advance. Now you might say, oh Daramgar, we're boiling the meat. Yes, we are. This is so that the meat does not stick to the pan when we add it immediately. Passing it through water makes it nice and firm. Okay? This is how we get a properly stir fry, I promise. I need you all to trust me on this. Does everybody trust me? I need your trust. I need your faith with me. So we can't just take this velveted meat and put it straight onto a pan. We have to pass it through water. We have to pass it through oil or something. That's because we have this cornstarch coating on it that will otherwise just end up sticking to everything. Okay? So we're getting that water up to a big, aggressive boil, although it doesn't really matter. It just has to be like hot enough. I'm going to put this waste bowl away. We have no more use for it. Okay. And I can start putting some of these things behind me. I'm just going to be cleaning up as I go. Okay? Lovely. Okay. Everybody, my water is boiling. We have to make sure that our station for it is ready to go though. So I'm actually going to move away this pan. I don't really need that pan here, but what I will need is going to be this colander. This colander is where the meat is essentially going to go after it is cooked. So we just want to make sure that that is close by and ready to go. Okay, we just got to make sure that our station is ready, everything is ready to go. The water is now aggressively boiling. We're going to pour in a little bit of peanut oil. You can use any kind of neutral oil you want. This is actually going to stop it from sticking when it goes in. So a little bit of peanut oil goes a long way here. Okay. We're water velveting. We're going to also do this for about 30 to 60 seconds. It's a very similar idea. Next thing that we're going to want, guys, is this tool. This is a spider. This is basically a strainer, a colander on a stick. It's one of my favorite kitchen tools. Everybody should own a spider. Okay? What we're going to do, though, is we're going to try our best to get the meat in here one by one. Some nice chopsticks. Make good work of that. We just want to make sure that the meat is not really sticking to each other. And I'm going to set a timer on my phone for 40 seconds once we do this. Because again, we don't want to overcook the meat at this stage. We don't want to overcook the meat. We just want to quickly blanch it. So, into this boiling water, okay, we're putting in our beef. We're putting it in. We're just going to go all in at once, and then we'll separate it. All in. 40-second timer starts now, and I'm mixing it up, and I'm breaking up the meat. I'm making sure that it's not sticking to each other. Okay, make sure that all of these strands are separated. This is called water passing. It's going to pass, guys. It's going to go through. Just keep breaking them up. Make sure. Now, you don't want to like really destroy the coating that's on it. And we might do a little bit longer than 40 seconds because I'm afraid it might not seal it in time. We'll do another 10 seconds after. Okay, just boil this. It doesn't have to be like boiling hot water, so it's going to cool it down because it was cold meat that we just added in. In fact, I'm just going to do another 10 seconds. Another 10 seconds going in. And then we're going to take it out and put it into the bowl with the colander. Okay? Okay, and that's done. And we stop it. Everybody, you want to start moving now. You want to make sure that this meat does not overcook. Take it and into the colander it goes. Don't worry about straining off all the liquid because it's going to naturally get strained out in this process anyways. Take it, pick it up, and take it out. The goal is not for the meat to be cooked. We don't want to overcook the meat. We just wanted to make the coating. We just wanted to firm up the outside of the meat so that it easily stir fries. This is called passing through water, and you have to do this if you're doing an egg white cornstarch velvet. If you're doing a baking soda velvet, it's a little bit different. For an egg white cornstarch velvet, this is how you set that outside coating. Okay? And that's done. That's it. That's all that there is to it. And I know it doesn't look too appetizing at the moment. I know it just looks like boiled meat, but guess what? It is boiled meat. But we're going to make it delicious. Did everybody understand? Did everybody follow? Okay, that's it. That's all we have to do for the water passing method. That's all we had to do. Everybody, it's time for us to stir fry in just a moment. Nice, big, beautiful pan. I do not own a wok, thus I will not be cooking in a wok. A wok is really, really nice for things like this because it lets you use less oil. It lets you deep fry it because it's a spherical bottom. It's like a conical bottom. Okay? It lets you essentially deep fry in it because it builds up the volume of oil in there a little bit better. So, yes, absolutely took in a chest. In fact, in Chinese cooking, you don't typically see a lot of medium rare meat. This meat is not going to be medium rare. It's going to be juicy because we brined it with the salt, but it's going to be tender because of the velveting process. So, Everybody, we're heating this up on a medium high. The goal is to get this thing evenly heated up. We're going to be using peanut oil. We're going to be using peanut oil because that's what you use a lot in Chinese cooking. You can use any kind of neutral oil that you would like. We need a generous amount here. The goal is for this to fully cover the bottom. Because think about it. This meat that we velveted, that we passed through water, it has a sticky cornstarch outside still. If we put this on straight metal, it won't actually end up frying. It's going to just end up sticking to the bottom. Okay? So a little bit of oil. And when we put it in, we don't want to move it for about 45 seconds. We need to set the coating. Okay, I'm teaching you fundamentals. I'm teaching you how to stir fry. This is the final leg of the operation. Is everybody ready to get this done? So we're heating it medium. We're going to get this thing smoking hot. I want you all to take a look at everything that we have so far for the stir fry. This is my velveted meat. It's raw on the inside. I know it doesn't look too appealing. The goal is for us to get rid of all of this excess liquid to basically steam dry it. This doesn't look too appealing. I know it doesn't. But it will in just a moment, guys. I promise. Okay, it's a lot of excess liquid. I think I'm just going to use a regular strainer instead because this isn't really working that well. Honestly, guys, this colander kind of sucks is the conclusion I've been coming to lately. Just get it in there, dump it in. This is going to do a much better job of straining this out anyways. Again, you want to get rid of all this excess liquid because if you put this straight into a hot pan, right, what are you going to get? You're going to get a bunch of splashing. You want to really thoroughly strain this out. You want to thoroughly let the steam dry. And already, by the way, if you've ever gotten like a steamed chicken dish, this does have that texture. It has that slipperiness on the outside. You just want to make sure it is properly drying off. It's a little bit sticky. It's a little slimy on the outside, but it will be good. Okay, back to the stove. Well, actually, I want to show you everything else going into the stir fry. So here's what's going to happen. We have all of this. This is a tomato for the base of the stir fry. Whole scallion whites, because I love the taste, I love the texture of these bad boys. Some garlic and ginger for the aroma, scallion greens to then finish. And then we have a plate of different sauces. We have some dark soy sauce mixed with oyster sauce. This is a little bit of cornstarch. This is going to thicken the whole thing. And this is some sesame oil with which we will finish. The cornstarch, I'm going to add some water in now. Okay? This is going to be the slurry. This is what it's called. It's called a slurry. All right? We're going to just pour in some liquid. It doesn't really matter. Just, you know, get it in there, mix it up. And you want to get like a nice white paste, kind of. Agitate it, mix it up. Do what you got to do with it. Just make sure there's no lumps. Mix it up. Get it done. And again, there's plenty of salt in this. The meat was brined with the salt. And then we also have dark soy sauce and oyster sauce. So it will be plenty salty. And we're going to get that oil smoking hot. We're going to get it really nice and hot. And in the meantime, by the way, the rice is going. The rice is almost done. This is the final leg of it all. Are you excited? This is why you have to get all of your prep done in advance for when you're doing a stir fry. Because otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. Otherwise, you're going to be scrambling. The cucumber salad is already done as well. It looks amazing. Oof, I'm excited for this. And again, we're just still continuing to drain off this meat. Okay, we're just moving it around ever so slightly. We want to get rid of any like excess, like profoundly excess liquid on this thing. Okay. Because all of it is just going to end up making the stir fry soggy. And it's not going to properly brown when it hits the pan. It's just going to splash oil all over the place. So the outside of it is slimy. We're going to end up setting the coating. It's going to be great. Right now, we're getting the oil smoking hot. Okay? So back to the stove. Things are about to start happening. We're getting this oil really hot because we want to get that coating set. Okay? That pan is smoking. The only other thing we have to set up, we have to make sure that we have a plate where we can take things out on. Okay? This plate is where the finished stir-fried meat is going to go because we have to take it out after it stir-fries a little bit. So, oil in the pan. Okay, looking really good. We're going to use, I'm just going to use this flat one, this flat wooden spatula. Okay? And in it goes. Everybody, smoking hot peanut oil. In it goes. It's gonna splash, let it set. Don't move it around now. Let it set, let it do its thing. If you move it around, it's not going to properly come off the bottom. Give this 45 seconds to a minute. Don't start stirring now. You have to let the bottom of it set. And the more it splashes, the more wet it was when you ended up putting it on. Okay, just make sure that things are on the bottom evenly. Also, the rice is almost done. I can turn off the heat on that. So just let it set, let it do its thing. Just make sure you're distributing the oil all the way around. And then we'll actually properly get to the stir fry. The biggest mistake you can make is to stir this now. Okay, it's going to get beautiful color. Does everybody understand? I want to hear a yes, chef, from everybody watching. Okay, 20 more seconds or so, and then I'll feel confident enough to give this a little stir around. Just not yet. I'm still fiddling with it, which I really shouldn't be. 20 more seconds, and it'll be good. So my rice is done. Good, I'm glad you all understand. I'm glad you all see the vision. Okay, now guess what? We can stir this bad boy. It's done its job. And now you can see it hasn't stuck to the bottom, and we have this beautiful color on the beef. Okay, that's because we set the coating on the bottom to begin with. We have this lovely color developed now. And now we're going to leave this alone as well, because the other side of the coating is now sticking. Right? That's what I'm talking about. Let it go. You don't stir fry immediately. That's the number one mistake you're also doing. If you velveted it, if you water passed it, if it's covered with cornstarch or something, it's probably too wet. You have to let it naturally build up a crust. You have to. It is not an option. Okay. And now we can mix it up properly, right? Now we can actually properly stir fry this whole thing. This is only going to take another 30 seconds or so. And it's not sticking to the bottom. We had enough oil for the whole thing. It's going to compensate for the rest of the stir fry. We're building up a good crust. We're building up some really good flavor, right? We're getting some really good browning developed. A little bit longer. We don't want to overcook this, but it's never going to be medium rare on the inside. Guys, it's a stir fry. It's thin meat. It's not about having this thing be medium rare at the end of the day. Okay? And the beauty of a wok is that it lets us use less oil because it lets it fry in a deeper pool of oil. But alas, I do not have a wok. So thus, a pan it is. And you can still do incredible stir fries in a pan, is what I wanted to show all of you. Okay, guess what? This is now done. I'm going to use some tongs to take it all out, just to make my life a little bit easier. Take it out. We got some good color. We got a good crust developed. And we're going to intentionally leave all of this oil inside. We need this oil through the rest of the stir fry. Let's do the other elements, my friends. This stuff moves fast. We gotta move fast. We gotta go. Okay? So look at that. We got an excellent crust on the meat now. It looks great. It smells great. This is exactly why we do things in the way that we do. I want to show you all how easy a stir fry can be and how technical it can be too. But as long as we follow the right steps, we can get a really, really beautiful product at the end of the day. So we're taking all the major chunks of meat out. We're taking all the small ones out as well. Okay? And we're going to distribute the oil around once again. We're going to heat it back up. It just lost a lot of temperature. Okay? It lost a lot of temperature, so we have to heat it back up again. Get it nice and hot again. And again, if you have some like little chunks like these, it's just going to happen. Oil passing does avoid that a little bit more. This just happens with water passing more as a method. But that's okay. Heat up that oil again, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fry up the scallion whites, and we're going to fry up the garlic and the ginger next. The biggest thing that you can do is make sure that you're not overcrowding things. You do a batch of something, you take it out. You do a batch of something, and then you take it out. Okay? So now that this is nice and hot again, we're going to add in my scallions. And that's enough oil for the rest of the stir fry. We add in the scallions. We're going to just let these go for a few seconds. Okay? Just let that go, let that do its thing. And then we're going to add the garlic and ginger. We don't add the garlic ginger immediately because it will burn easily. So just let that go, give this a bit of a head start. Give this about 30 seconds of frying. And this is how we make sure, you can already see the color that we've developed on these scallions so quickly. Yeah, am I making a mess out of my stove? Absolutely. Can you see it? Nope. It'll be fine. So take a look, my friends. That looks good. And now, into the oiled side, my garlic, my ginger. You've got to have garlic and ginger in your Chinese stir fries, my friends. You cannot go without it. Plenty of it going in, and mix it up. You don't want the stuff to burn. You don't want it to burn one bit. So in it all goes. And this is why we have everything portioned out really nicely. Really nicely, really easily. Just get that going. Mix it all up. Keep it moving. Don't stop moving. Because if you stop moving, it will burn. And then, just get that going a little bit longer. Keep it frying. Scrape up the bottom. Do what you got to do. Right? That's perfect. And tomatoes going in now. My 2 plump tomatoes. They're wet. They're going to stop the thing from burning now. Beautiful. And we don't want to break up these tomatoes. I want to emphasize that. All we want to do is just stir these up and make sure we're lifting up any of the garlic, any of the ginger, any of the scallions that were once stuck to the bottom. We just want to cook these until they're somewhat softened. Right, we've cooled down the pan. It's no longer frying at this stage, or at least significantly. We're just flipping things around, and we're letting that go for a sec. Everybody, this stir fry is coming together, and it's going to be delicious. Are you excited for it? Are you excited for the stir fry? Okay, the last thing though, really quickly while this is going, because now we can somewhat leave this unattended. It grew up enough. We can leave it alone at the house for a few minutes at a time now. It's no longer a toddler. Okay? We're going to look at the rice really quickly. Come over here. My rice is perfectly done. Also, crafty auntie, thank you for stopping by. Thank you, thank you. Look at my rice. Look at my perfect stovetop rice. I do not mess around when it comes to stovetop rice. I make perfect, consistent stovetop rice every single time. So all we have to do after it's cooked up is just we're going to take it and we're going to just fluff it up a little bit so it's not like dry and compact. And then it's going to steam until we are ready to eat. Look at this rice. Look at this rice. Perfect stovetop rice every single time when you do it with my method. No need for a rice cooker. Yep, we just fluff it up and then we just leave it to steam until we're ready to eat. Or for 5 minutes at least. It's going to get rid of that final toothsome bite. That's exactly the texture of the rice that I wanted for today. Stop. And back on with the lid. And away this goes. Let's go back over here. Let's take a look at what's happening. Okay, beautiful. The tomatoes are cooking down. The garlic and the ginger aroma. I mean, everything smells pretty darn excellent at the moment. Okay, we're just trying to evaporate some of the excess liquid the best that we can, but we're not trying to turn our tomatoes into mush at this stage. Okay, some of them are going to fall apart. That is just natural. We just don't want a tomato sauce. Okay, guys? So, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're just cooking down the tomatoes. We're roasting them down slightly. We're getting a little bit more color while we can. And again, this doesn't have a lot of salt at the moment. We're going to get a lot of salt in just a second. We will because we're adding some dark soy sauce and we're adding some oyster sauce in. So, guess what? In it all goes the dark soy sauce, the oyster sauce, and we're going to cook it down slightly. And this whole thing will naturally be thickened with the tomato, so we don't need too much cornstarch. So in all of this stuff goes. That's my dark soy sauce, that's my oyster sauce. Beautiful. The tomato, depending on how in season it is, it's going to add quite a bit of sweetness to the whole thing. Just mix it all up, mix it together, and get the raw taste of the oyster sauce, get the raw taste of the soy sauce cooked out. Look at that. Beautiful. And this is still without the addition of the additional beef. And we're going to finish the whole thing with some sesame oil, and it'll be great. Excellent. Just cook this out. We want to cook this for about 30 seconds to a minute or so. Okay? So everybody, in here, once again, we finished stir frying the beef. We're going to add back in the beef in just a moment. This is my tomatoes. These are my scallion whites. And again, yes, that tomato naturally thickens it, so we don't need that much cornstarch. And we use toasted sesame oil. Untoasted is used for cooking turina. Toasted is used for flavor. We made sure we got good color and everything. We fried the garlic. We fried the ginger. In fact, I don't even know if I'm feeling any of the cornstarch. I don't know if it needs any of it. That's my vibe at the moment. And now I'm going to taste it. I am going to taste this sauce slightly because I'm concerned it's a little bit too salty. It's a little bit too funky. We might do a little splash of sugar depending on how much the tomatoes ended up cooking down. We might. So let's give it a little taste at this stage because I am curious. Oh, guys, that is so good. In fact, that is perfect. That is incredible. Wow. Okay. You know what? That does not need any sugar. The tomatoes lightened it up really, really nicely. So we're not just getting like straight oyster sauce or anything. And in goes our stir-fried beef. Remember the beef? In it goes. Okay? In the beef goes. Beautiful. And then the final addition. We don't need any cornstarch, I've realized. The tomatoes thickened this whole thing up really nicely, really naturally. Okay? So in all of it goes. And the last thing that we're going to need, guys, is a big splash of sesame oil, and we can kill the heat. Sesame oil, swirl it in. Perfect. And mix all the sesame oil through, give the whole thing a really nice, delicious nuttiness. And then finally, remember my scallion greens that we set aside? My scallion greens go in now too. Guess what? Everybody, we did it. This is my stir fry. It's all been done. It's all come together. Trust the process. That's it. That's my beef tomato stir fry. I think that looks pretty damn good, I have to say. I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So, everybody, with that being said, is everybody ready to plate? Is everybody ready to plate up? Let's get it all together, huh? Trust the process. This is how you make beautiful restaurant quality stir fries at home with all of the method and all the love that we gave it. So let's begin the plating session. First, remember my Chinese cucumber salad, my smashed cucumber salad that I've had chilling out of my fridge. Okay. This I'm just going to go ahead and scoop up into a little bowl, into a cute little teeny tiny bowl, wherever they might have gone for me. Okay, I seem to have a couple right here. Okay. So it's chilled out. It's just been sitting in the fridge. And we'll talk about everything that went into in just a moment. Just mixing it up, getting the dressing all the way through again. Delicious. Okay. And now it's time to plate up the rice. Let's do the rice really quickly as well. You know, I don't like the glaze on this bowl. I don't like what that looks like. So thankfully we'll cover it up. I don't like that. Chill out. I'm going to take some rice, some of my beautiful, okay, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stovetop rice. We didn't get to thank Mr. Spoon yet, I apologize. Look at this. And I use sushi rice because that's my favorite kind of rice. You can use jasmine rice, you can use any kind you want. I love the starchiness, the fluffiness of sushi rice, okay? Although that might be a little bit much for me. I don't think I need that much rice right now because I ate quite a bit today. I don't need that much. That should be okay. And let's pack it in. Are we gonna plate it? Are we gonna like put this in a plate or we just have a separate bowl of the rice? What do we think we should do? Should we do the meme rice plating or should we do separate bowls of the stuff? What's your guys' vibe right now? Is it meme plating time? Upside down rice, is it time? I think it's meme time. Let's do it. Sorry, I was thinking about the meme and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Let's see if we can do it properly this time. Something like this, and then you flip it over. And then you have a little pat of rice. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine, I suppose. And then, finally, guys, let's take a nice... I think I'm just going to use this spoon instead. This spoon might be a little bit easier. It's kind of difficult to scoop up. I'm going to take a nice big scoop of my beef and tomato with scallions. Looking really, really good at the moment. Oh, gorgeous. You know, I do wish I had some more scallions for garnish, but I used them all up for this cooking process. We can do some sesame seeds at the end or something. Everybody, this is my stir fry. Okay, I know it's a little bit lacking in terms of plating. What if we shoved? No, we're not going to do that in the same plate. This is it. That's my beef tomato stir fry. Let's get a couple of chopsticks and I'll talk about everything that we made today. We put a lot of technique. We put a lot of love in everything that you're looking at the moment. There was a lot of technique, there was a lot of effort, there was a lot of love. Let's talk about the least interesting thing here. This is my cucumber salad. Even though, okay, I didn't mean to hurt its feelings. You're not interesting. I just want to talk about the stir fry. We chopped up some cucumbers. First, we peeled it to get rid of some of the really tough skins. Okay, but we left some of it intentionally so that we still have some of the flavor and the texture of the skins. We smashed it for texture reasons, and then we chunked it up and we hit it with a lot of salt for 30 to 45 minutes. And that got rid of all of the excess liquid from those cucumbers. And then we made a dressing with black Chinese vinegar, with scallions, with sesame oil, okay, with garlic. Okay, and then we mixed it all up after we strained out the liquid, and we have this beautiful salad. Let's have a taste. It's simple, it's acidic, it's fully seasoned. This is such a good salad just to have in your fridge. Nice and nutty from the sesame oil. Nice and fresh, nice and crispy, nice and cold. And now, let's talk about the start of the show today. This is my stir fry. Everybody, we did not mess around with the stir fry. Chat, did we mess around? Did we mess around today? I don't think we did. Everybody, we gave this a lot of love. First thing we did, we had flank steak. We did a little something called velveting. We hit it with some egg white because it's basic and it makes it tender. We hit it with some cornstarch to build the coating, with some salt to brine it and season it, and some Shaoxing wine to again build that coating. And we let it sit for 30 minutes and we passed it through water to set the coating. We chopped up some tomatoes. We portioned out oyster sauce, dark soy sauce, sesame oil, scallion whites, garlic, and ginger. We stir-fried the velveted meat after we passed it through water. We got some really good color on it. We took it out, we fried the scallions, we fried the garlic and ginger, we fried the tomatoes, then we added the soy sauce and the oyster sauce, and we didn't need to thicken this with cornstarch because of the tomatoes. The tomatoes naturally thickened everything. The tomatoes, they made it beautiful, they made it saucy. We finished it with some sesame oil and scallion greens, and look at this beautiful flank steak. Because we velveted it. Guys, let me take a bite. Cheers. Oh my God. That is so simple. Well, we put a lot of effort and love in, but let me tell you right now, that is one of the best, that is maybe the best stir fry I've ever made at home. We gave everything so much authentic, traditional technique. We gave it so much love, okay? Sweet and acidic from the tomatoes, meaty from the dark soy sauce and the oyster sauce. The scallions, look at these scallions. Nice and sweet when you bite into it. I mean, this is full of flavor. This is pretty poggies, I have to say. And everybody, this goes to show, it's not always about medium rare meat. Stir fries are not about saying, you gotta cook it to 120. No, if you velvet it, you can get juicy, tender meat that's still cooked to well done. This idea, by the way, of well done being the only way to eat something is purely a cultural relative construct. By Western cooking standards, by French standards, absolutely. But when you have different dishes from different cultures with different standards, you apply to them different standards. So we don't do medium rare meat. Yes, it's fully cooked through on the inside, but it's still juicy and delicious. So there is a time and place for such things. And the rice, perfectly fluffy, we made it ourselves. We didn't use a rice cooker. Okay? This is a stir fry, basically of like my own dish, my own recipe, just kind of inspired by beef and broccoli flavors. The flank steak has such a pleasant chew to it. It's nice and slippery. That coating is incredible on it. It's not overcooked. That is delicious. That is really special. The rice just soaks up that sauce. You gotta love this, guys. And then let's also have some with the cucumber salad. And everybody, if you have any final questions, now is your time to ask me. Let's have some cucumber. Light and simple, but so good. This is it. This is real stuff. So good. That is pretty excellent. I taught you stir-fry fundamentals. I taught you how to do this all the right way. I didn't mess around. Chat, did we mess around? I don't think we did. I taught you how to velvet. I taught you now how to overcrowd your pan. I taught you how to do the prep for everything. Okay? We built a lot of flavor here so quickly. It's in this beautiful tomatoey sauce. I mean, this is it. It's not pink and go. This I just got from an ex. Okay. Everybody, final questions, final comments. Remember, next stream is going to be this Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you haven't already got that on your calendar, then you're making a mistake. Let's go see who is live on Twitch. Final questions, final comments, final concerns. VOD's going to go up on YouTube. If you haven't already done so, please check out the Patreon. Type in !Patreon. Okay, scroll down, go into the About section. Please, please, please. It'll be a really huge help for me. I'm trying to get the grocery costs of these streams covered. I don't know yet, Ali. We'll find out as we go along. That's the way that I do things. Let's see who is live in food and drink right now. Who is currently live and going? Ah. Let's see. French onion Friday. Somebody streaming French onion soup, it seems. You know what? Let's just grade tea. Let's go ahead and grade tea. That's what we usually do. Okay. Let's do that. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Sunday, 5 p.m. EST. I appreciate every single one of you. I will see you all then. Till then, take care. Be safe. Have a really good Friday night. Have fun. I appreciate all of you being here. You're all very sweet to me. Thank you for letting me do this. And I will see you all this Sunday. Till then, bye-bye. Thank you for being here.